So these are some of the prefabricated elements which we come across in day-to-day life. What are these? These are nothing but the road curbstones. If you see there's a hole in the middle, usually they'll use this for sending the cables and all such things through. So this is one advantage which you have, like it is already cast in some other place, you just have to come and place it. So typically what happens, you will find that when you are prefabricating, you can in fact start the actual elements, forming of the elements much before the date when you are actually going to place it in position. So actually there's a lot of savings in time. These are some drainage structures. Okay, this is a typical manhole which we have. So these are the manhole covers we are talking about. When we come to buildings, see, you can actually carry each piece of the building and place it. This was what we saw in that video also, and we were talking about ensuring there are proper arrangements to lift the precast element. Okay, see, whenever you are talking about design, there are two aspects of design where you analyze and then you design. What is this analysis? Analysis is finding out how much force is going to be set up in that element because somebody is going to apply a load on it. Application of load causes two things. It causes a deformation where the thing bends, and also it is having another aspect of it where it causes it to get stressed. Where it gets stressed. Stress means there is a force which is set up inside the body. If the force which is set up inside the body is more than the force which it can take up, it is going to fail. Every body has a finite amount of strength. Okay, so this stress is a very common or important term which you'll come across when you are going in for your strength of materials and the subsequent papers. But as of now, you should remember that the way you carry something is going to play a very important role in how the forces are going to get transferred. Okay, if you are going to carry a baby, how do you carry it? Do you carry it by the arm? You can still carry the baby by the arm, by the ear. But then what happens? You know that the ear has a finite amount of strength, so you cannot lift it and carry the weight. Ear cannot hold the weight. So you carry the baby in a particular way. In the same way, all these elements have to be carried in a particular way. If you are carrying it as you like, you are going to damage the element, or you may even cause it to break. I don't know how many of you have seen this sort of construction happening. This is very common where metro rails are being constructed. This is called as a launching girder. They string up all these individual elements in a separate place. You don't have to wait 28 days where you have to support it or anything of that sort. The entire bridge doesn't cause any obstruction to the road below or any of the other activities. They just have this launching girder put up, and the launching girder goes along the length of the viaduct, and you get it done. And look at this construction. This is called as a balanced cantilever, which what happens here is you will have a situation where you cannot see here. This is a river. It's a sea. It's under the sea. You cannot be blocking this area, this span, because they are expecting ships to cross. If you are going to have like some obstruction, ships cannot. It will get affected. Ship movement will get affected. So look at what they are doing here. Here they are keeping they are balancing the weights on both sides. So the viaduct is going to stand essentially on its own self-weight. Even any road, any train goes on it, or any bus. This is a road bridge. Any amount of traffic goes, the weight of this system will be so high that it will not cause the bridge to tilt. It will still be able to balance any weight which comes on it. Okay, so this is a construction technique which is very nice and unique. If you are going through Chennai, there is this Kathipara flyover where they have got this sort of construction done. So this is a view of the launching girder. In Chennai near Adambakam, one of these launching girders fell down. It killed one or two people. So they stopped the work. Now what happened was although the work had been asked to be stopped, in that construction site, till the police inquiry, everything was done, people cannot do any work. So what happened? Just imagine, if suppose you are having, please come in here. If you are going to stop the work for say 5 days or 6 days, yes, sit there please. Thank you. If you are going to stop the work for 5 or 6 days, you are going to find that penalty is very huge. Okay, in the sense that you will not be able to deliver your bridge in time. If you don't deliver your bridge in time, your what shall I say? Your the client to whom you are doing it, he'll stop giving you money, which is, or he will even give a penalty. You may be expecting 1.5 crores, but he'll say 25 lakhs is your penalty, so 1.25 lakhs is what you will get. All this is very big loss for a contractor. Okay, so you can so what L&T actually did in this case was they started to do the prefabrication. They accelerated the rate at which they are doing this precast units. So the moment they got clearance, they immediately started to work very fast. Two things you have to remember. First is you have to lift these things correctly. If suppose I am carrying, if each of this unit is 1 ton, and I am having a crane which can carry exactly 1.1 tons. Suppose by some chance there is a mistake and it is lifting up and it collapses. Two things can happen. The crane can itself fall on a person. Second thing is, if this unit falls from a height, it is going to get damaged. So you will find that it is going to cause a lot of loss. The second thing is, all of these have to come in the correct sequence. This each of these units are standardized in terms of depth. It looks like that, but what will happen is these end pieces will normally not be the same dimension. And another thing is, these pieces you cannot rotate it by 180 degrees and expect it to also fit in certain cases. It means that you have to arrange the blocks in a correct way. It has to be brought to site in the correct sequence. You have to know where each block is before it is going to be assembled or erected in position. So all these things the persons have to think about, but the advantage is the speed. Example, how many stories was that hotel that was constructed? Huh? Okay, it was 30 stories. How many days? 15 days. It means every day 2 stories have got completed. Only if you go at that rate, you are going to get it. Right from your foundation till the top, they took that much. Now look at this. These are longitudinal elements of bridge. You are just carrying it and keeping it in place. And have a look at this. This is a construction robot. It's a construction robot. It is used in China. Okay. So this is all possible if you are going to use precast units. Definitely this robot is going to take the place of I don't know how many employees. Okay. That means as a contractor, you are having the benefit that your wage bill comes down. Safety for each of that laborer is coming down. Okay, as a human being, what I am saying, or I am also a contractor at heart, I am not all that generous. If you look at all the human rights group, they will say you are not giving the jobs for so many people. Now a very big question comes. Now all of you are going to go out with BTech. I am starting to reduce the jobs. Number of job openings, the value of project keeps increasing, the massiveness of the structures keep increasing, everything is increasing. However, what is increasing? The decreasing. The number of people who are required is keeping on decreasing. So please remember, at the end of this course, BTech course, you have to have learned so much more that you are going to be desired to be kept in a construction site. Okay, this is something which you have to think about. Jobs are shrinking. Okay, but the talent is increasing. The talent which each of you can contribute individually is so much more. However, what is there? There is something which is required, which is better than the IIT person or the other ordinary engineering college. So they should be able to hire you. Now I'm just going to go back to that video. I will stop it at certain points and just highlight certain things to you. Just 1 minute, if I touch anything here, it pauses. Let me just get my laser pointer out here. Okay. What are they doing in this step? Here, they are are using precast piles which are getting driven into the ground. Already the piles have reached the maximum strength they require. You are not waiting that 14 days or 15 days. 15 days if you are waiting for the column to gain strength, the pile to gain strength, your project is off the target. It has totally gone off the target. Okay. So this is a very important thing which these people are achieving. See, these are the piles. These are circular, hollow circular piles. Okay, it's on the left end of the screen. They are driving it in place. Okay, this is being driven into place. All the blocks which you saw there, okay, all the heavy blocks which are kept is kept so that when pile driving rig is pushing the pile down, the rig doesn't jump up. You have to hold it down in position. So all that is kept for weighing down the rig. Here you are having the whole thing cast in place. So tiles, everything is done. Plumbing is also done. They just have to go and keep it in place. Okay. Light. This is LED light. Energy saving. Whatever is going to be done, like window panels, everything is being lifted as unlift. There is a very special type of connection here. This is a very important aspect for the construction. If they are constructed, the connection should be strong and it should be easy to make also. Okay, I'm skipping the time lapse part of this. Okay, so this is the, and you can just have a look. This Broad Group Construction Hotel, you'll find about 2 or 3 videos on YouTube immediately. Okay, so they had exactly 360 hours, 15 days, but then they went on for other records also. They went for higher building, much higher buildings, as well as some hotels which were slightly smaller also. This is the case for prefabricated construction, or why we want to have prefabricated construction. Your quality assurance, the quality is going to be what you expect it to be got. Okay, you cannot lift it up or do whatever you like unless the quality is better than what you cost in the site. And speed of construction, you can look at the speed. Okay, now for the past 1 week, the engineers in who are constructing that classroom behind our CTS office have been telling they are going to pour concrete. For the past 1 week, they have not been able to do it. Today, I don't know whether they have succeeded also. So what I want to make a point at this juncture is that you will find that all such excuses are totally going out. All of these units are machine assembled or plant assembled. They are all done in a factory. They are under very tight quality regulations. They are under very good or very closely monitored inspection is there, and quality control is also good. So then if you see everything, whatever you look at it, it is much better than any other. Okay, now on all of these points, okay, I talked about first two. In these points, do you want me to specify or talk on anything more? Any of the rest of the points? Okay. Okay, if you don't feel anything is required to be described more, I shall go to the next slide. Okay. So this is the salient points of that particular hotel. Okay, that particular hotel which you saw, they had an accuracy of 0.2 millimeter. What is 0.2 millimeter? Take your scale. You'll see line 0, 1, 2, 3 mark. In between that, you got 10 divisions. Each of that 10 divisions, you divide it into 5, and the distance between those two lines is the 0.2 millimeter accuracy. Okay, if suppose you look at the coefficient of thermal expansion. Okay, what is coefficient of thermal expansion? It's a ratio that gives the change in length for a given temperature rise. Okay, for delta T, it will give you what is the thing. So look at that and look at the length. Okay, you will find that delta L will be much higher than this 0.2, but in spite of that, they manage this 0.2 millimeters. So there is a lot of coordination which is required. People have to know what is coming where and what is to be done when. Construction span, yes, the time was very short. And see, go to any construction site, see the amount of waste which is generated. See the way the site looks, how dirty it looks, and how was the plant in which they constructed all these units or cast these units. Okay. So this is one of this is a plan of one of the precast structures, okay, buildings which were done. Here, if you see, columns, beams, slabs were done separately, and when you go ahead and put it in place, okay, the you are actually going to get a lot of, like, you are going to be able to get achieve high degree of uh, aesthetics appeal also. Okay, unfortunately the photograph, I missed getting the photograph of this, but in any case, whenever you see this X, no, it means there's an opening. So lift shafts, you name it, you are going to be able to put it in a precast structure also. Okay, so these are some of the common items which you can precast. Okay, these are some of the common structural elements which you can precast. These are some of the common structural elements which you can precast. Okay, now do you remember any of these? You remember these terms, please? Yeah. So if you are going to have quality control of the materials that is going to go into the precasting yard, or what goes into your precast element, these are some of the things which you will be looking at. Okay. So yeah. So here, this is these are some of the other things which I hope that you are remembering. Okay. What is consistency of mixed proportions? Dare I ask? What is workability? Okay, so you guys just go through all these terms. These are very important terms per se, because these are all going to be the tests which you are going to do on the concrete before it is going to be done in a precast unit or precasting yard also. Just like what you do inside, the same test you'll have to do. So these are very common tests. These will need to be done, especially at least sieve analysis, and cement tests are normally not really required because quality of cement is consistent. But aggregate, can you be very sure about the aggregate? That is a question mark. Of course, today if you see, the aggregate also is got at a very high reliability. The sizes are all brought to site with a very high reliability, but still you'll have to cross check. And of course, this moisture and all those things are also there. So basically what happens in any precasting system is, two things are there. You will have to look at the forces which will be borne by the element when it is going to do its regular work or service life, and when it is being handled. You will have to know how we are going to carry it, how we are going to place it. Then you are also going to need to know, this is a very important thing, that you know how to join it together. Okay, for example, you saw that segmented construction, right? The bridge was having small parts. How is this going to be joined in place? How are they joining these small parts? Sorry? White cement. What did you say? Cement, okay. You will be surprised to know that there is no cement used to join those blocks together. Huh? They are not they are interlocking to a very small extent, but interlock force don't. I mean, interlocking cannot cause it to be firm. See, now I am having two parts. Okay, if I am going to press both of these tightly together. Okay, if I am going to press tightly together, will I be able to have a weight suspended on this, or if I keep a weight, will it be able to take it up? I am tightly holding it in place. So maybe I'll have a pencil box or something else. Or I can I will take three other textbooks. Okay. Now we are having okay. So I'm having four books. Okay, I'm having these four books. What I'm going to do with these four books is, I'm going to hold them tightly like this. Okay. Now can you see that middle two books are still holding in place? These middle two books are being held in place. Yes or no? Yeah. So if I'm having, say, 20 books and I'm holding it tightly enough, will it hold in place? It will hold in place. Will a person be able to walk across, had it been 100 books long? That is exactly what is happening in the, please. So that's exactly what is happening in the the segmental construction also. They take a wire which is called a tendon, which is of very high tensile strength, which cannot break easily when you give a tensile force. They pull it and then they release it. When they release it, it pushes on it bears on the concrete elements, pushes it very tightly, holds it in place. It is so, you can imagine the force which is on it. They use hydraulic jacks to pull it. Hydraulic jacks they use to pull it and bear on the concrete surface. So, for your ICS, the chief guest is Mr. Anbu Samuel, who is working who's the director of Stoop Consultants. His company is very good in concrete, high performance concrete, high strength concrete, all these things, and pre-stressed concrete. Okay, these are all post-tensioned works. Okay, these are all post-tensioned works if you are going to be very specific. But his company does this work. You are going to get an opportunity to interact with this person. Okay, so please take the time to speak to him. Try to speak to him with little, little bit of something, asking doubts, asking an opportunity to meet him. I'm sure that you'll all benefit greatly when you interact with him. Okay, so I hope that you found this interesting, and I hope it was also challenging. And I will close this lecture for now.
Okay, now here is our typical stop end that would be used to orient the pre-stressing strands that we would use to apply that compressive force to the beam end. Now note, these strands are not tensioned, they are slack, so there's no danger here. You must be very, very careful with fully tensioned pre-stressing strands because there's a massive amount of force that can be contained in each of these strands. This particular strand, in fact, we would actually tension up to a load of 209 kilonewtons in just one strand. So what we would do, these strands would be jacked up, they would be pulled back, and they would be essentially stretched. They would be put into that very large amount of tension, 209 kilonewtons for these. The concrete would be cast around the strands into the appropriate cross-section. Once that concrete has reached the specified strength, the specified compressive strength, then the strands would be gradually released, thereby transferring that force that was in the strands when they were stretched into the concrete. So that very large force in the strands would be then applied as compression into the beam itself. Now, notice with this strand layout, there's a far larger number of strands closer to the bottom of the beam. The bottom of the beam, the soft of the beam would be just 50 mil underneath the actual bottom of the strands, 50 or 60 mil. The reason for that is, not only do we want to apply compression to the beam, we also want to apply a bending moment to the beam as a result of the pre-stressing operation. So because that overall position of the strands is eccentric, it's removed from the centroid of the beam, that enables that application of the pre-stress to also apply a bending moment that will counteract, will act against and relieve the bending moment that results from the applied loads, the loads that will be applied to the beam under working conditions. Let's step back over to the finished beam itself and go through the final steps of the final aspects of how a pre-stressed bridge beam works. Okay, so this beam is one of our finished products. This was actually cast not long ago on this bed itself. Now, you'll notice there's a bit of a gap between the soffit of the beam and the actual bed itself. This is a result of what we just spoke about. When we apply that compressive force from the pre-stressing tendons, pre-stressing strands, not only do they apply that beneficial compressive force to the beam, but they also apply a moment that relieves the moment applied under working conditions. So this moment that's applied by the pre-stressing operation results in the beams actually cambering up. The beam will actually lift up several millimeters, 10 millimeters, whatever the case may be, depending upon the beam and the pre-stressing amount and layout used. It will actually camber up. Now this is beneficial with regard to deflection checks as well too. Generally for bridge beam design we don't need to carry out rigorous deflection checks, but from an aesthetic point of view you don't want a beam visually sagging on site. So this natural camber that results from the pre-stressing operation itself will help eliminate the potential that that beam would be visibly sagging on site as well too. Finally, you'll notice as well too, we've got shear links in the beam as well. The shear links we use in the bridge beam would really be not substantially different from what would be, you may be accustomed to for reinforced concrete bridge beam design too. So again, so bridge beams, pre-stressed concrete bridge beams would also make provision for shear design, shear reinforcement as well. So in order to summarize how pre-stressed, precast bridge beams work, beams are intended to carry flexure as well as shear, but that flexure that they're going to carry results in tension in one face of the beam. Concrete is not good in tension. In reinforced concrete, we use bars, steel bars, but in pre-stressed concrete design, we apply compression in order to overcome that tensile stress in the beam due to flexure. The force is applied using pre-stressing strands. The pre-stressing strands are stretched, concrete is cast around the strands in pre-tension concrete, and the strands are slowly released, thereby applying that compressive force to the beam while simultaneously applying a moment to the beam that also acts to relieve the applied moment. I should also point out as well too that what I've been speaking about here relates to pre-tension, precast, pre-stressed bridge beam design. There is also post-tension bridge beams, which are slightly different, well rather different from pre-tension bridge beam designs.